Okay, let me see that for a second. Let's see if you like this. Nepotism is when you hire family.
Okay.
Learn that word.
Okay.
Hey, Maria, is it too early for the diversity duo to show a little nepotism?
No, no, it's not. Let's do this. Let's talk to our guest today, who is a young entrepreneur, who is the videographer and the, oh my God, I forgot. I'm
Director?
sorry. And the what?
Was it director, right?
No, not
Producer.
director.
Producer, thank
Producer.
you. Sorry. No, I don't know the.
Boy,
I don't
you're
know the
every
terminology.
week.
I know.
Sorry, this is typical Gen Z. Every week he needs
My
a
bad, my
promotion.
bad. Okay.
What is the other thing you do? And you are the
Videographer, the editor,
the editor, okay, and the
and
producer.
If you want to throw that in, sure.
Today we have invited the diversity duo, producer, videographer, and editor.
And let's not forget your grandson,
And
Elijah,
my
will be here.
grandson. Yes.
Okay, so do we have an introduction on who Elijah is and what his experiences are?
No, but he's here so he can tell us.
I guess that's
Hi,
fair.
Elijah.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the diversity duo, this side of the camera.
It feels good to be here. I like this table in front of me. I'm feeling comfortable. I feel at home.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to hear all about you besides the fact that you're Maria's grandson, which is wonderful, and we're happy to have you here. And we appreciate all the work that you put in
Of course.
because it's so far, this has been quite an ordeal to put this thing together. So, Maria, I know that you have some questions. I'm going to jump in with random questions because I only know Elijah through what he's been doing for us. So, from his grandmother perspective, I'd love to hear a little bit about Elijah.
Well, my grandson, he's been a constant in my life. I enjoy having him around. He's well-rounded, if you will. Easy to talk to, funny, and not to go like this, but extremely intelligent. And those are good qualities to have. He's also a Gen Zer, which is not a bad thing.
Nope.
But I can see the differences between the millennials, which are my sons, and my grandkids that are Gen Zers. So it has been quite a, how will I put it, a thing to live through, which is funny. I do have, I came ready with questions. I pretended that I didn't know him to come up with these questions for him. And one of the questions I want to start with is, what interests you in photography and videography and to start your business?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's funny because I kind of got into the business world outside of what it normally is meant to be about, because I see a lot of people that do this type of thing for business. Well, first, let me start. My personal interest in this is kind of from a cinematic standpoint for photography and videography. I try to capture things. I'll set up a light in the corner. I'll set up like a little lamp that I have. I'll use kind of my environment around me just to get kind of like the most cinematic shot that I can think of. And a lot of people that do this type of thing don't really think about it the way I do. From what I've seen, the work that they produce and stuff, they will kind of capture more stuff in the moment. They won't do all the lighting setup or anything. They won't use custom filters on their lenses for the camera and stuff, which I hope that doesn't sound like a bunch of heebie-jeebie, what I just said. But, I just have such a personal interest in making the best shot that I can think of in my mind and putting together a real story based off of the shots that I take, and kind of going in there afterwards in the after effects and the editing to kind of form something that I really am proud of, whether it's a client's work or my own work. I kind of put 120% into it, if it were my own project, because I really want to see the vision come to life. I don't have the same motivation to just put together whatever. I love to put together whatever they have in mind, obviously, right? But if I can kind of add my own touch and my own kind of expertise, if you will, into the kind of work that I'm doing for them, then that is great. I would love to see more of that, honestly, out there.
That's amazing. So, Elijah, tell me a little bit about what is your company?
Yeah.
How did you get started?
Yeah.
What and who do you hope to sell your product to fill us in. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I know your grandmother, and when we decided to do this podcast, we got you at the grandmother price, which we appreciate. But what does that mean? What does that mean, and how is this different than the work that you're hoping to do?
Well, it's not really too different from the work I'm hoping to do, honestly. Like, I love doing this type of thing. I love interacting with the people, and the fact that I get to do it with family and friends, that is just as great, because this is the type of work I would love to be doing, and I'm doing it right now, Just because I'm not getting all those cinematic shots that I'm hoping for doesn't mean I'm not having a great time doing it, Setting up everything behind the cameras, it's always a pleasure to be here to just look at the conversations that are going on, and I get to learn my own personal what's the word? I can't think of the word, but I just get to get all these tips and tricks, from behind the camera, and especially having to listen to it 5 times over after when I'm editing it, it really helps out to apply to my own type of business. And sorry, did you ask what my business was as well?
I did. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your business, where you're located, and how did they get a hold of you?
Okay. My business is ET Lensworks, located out of Franklin. It is a photography and videography business. It's focused on capturing all type of events that are happening, landscapes, just any type of, what is it called? It could be promotional events. It could be just any sort of celebration events, and I can also do portraits. That's the final
Nice.
That's the final roundup for it. But you can reach me at my phone number. Obviously, you can reach me at my LinkedIn page, which is just ET Lensworks, and I just set up another one. But I have many different pages spread across different stuff. I have a Facebook
So why don't
page.
we post something up about who you are? Let's put that right in here now and see your work in business, right? So
There you go. Perfect. Because I can do that when I'm in there. Putting
Terrific.
stuff on the screen.
terrific. So I love the idea that you're doing events. So I have a bonus daughter who just got engaged, and they caught that on film, and I thought, wow, that is what a great idea too. And I think that's these next generations, Maria, right? Is they're capturing everything. It needs to be on social media, and I love that for you. And I think, how do you feel about capturing these kind of private, intimate moments from other people?
Well, it definitely has to be consensual. can't just kind of whip out the camera. You can't just kind of start recording a private event like that. Definitely, like, if you're trying to surprise the other party.
Yeah.
But it's always great to do that because like bring
You
it
see,
back.
apple don't fall far from the tree, right?
Bring it back, bring it back.
Very funny.
That was funny. And very natural.
Very natural.
Like you said, it's definitely a big thing in our age. Everybody wants to post everything on social media. It's everybody wants to look back on something in their camera roll.
Yeah.
So this is it's not a dying business at all. It's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. A lot more people that are doing it. It's all about your personality and how you can apply that to what you're working with. So for me to capture the private events, like you said, if somebody wants to get the proposal on camera or something, different people that you would hire would take it from different perspectives with the camera. So, you got to kind of look at somebody's portfolio and stuff. But neither here nor there. Your worth, I guess, I shouldn't say worth. Your value, I guess, as a photographer and a videographer would definitely be what you can add to that shot. So that's why I'm pretty proud of what I do to make the shot better.
That's great. Maria, I'm going to ask you a question about him. When did you start seeing that he became interested in photography and editing and all of this?
He came home one day. He says, Mima, let me see the camera that you got for Christmas because I would love to get something like that. And I have this very extensive camera system. I love taking pictures, not of people, but of nature.
Okay.
And I mean, I have my work on several different sites. And I sell my work on those sites, but that's a guilty pleasure that not many people know I do. And he took the camera and he was a natural. He started taking pictures. And then he said he wanted to do this. Then fast forward, he was telling me that he posted a video on his personal account on YouTube. And he had over
10,000.
10,000 views.
10,000 views.
And I opened it and I saw it and I'm like, this kid is a natural. He made me laugh. I did not know who any of these people that he was talking about were, but every time he looked at the camera, he would say something funny, but dead face.
Yeah.
I was giggling like a mad woman. Also, there was another a non-for-profit in Taunton that hired him to do a summer event. And unbeknown to me, I didn't know that he had done this. And Tanya, my friend, says, take a look at this video. Tell me what you think. So I'm looking. I said, oh, my God. So you finally found the right guy for the right price. And she smiled. She says, I did. And I said, this is amazing. And I said, how many days of recording? She goes, oh, a couple. And I said, I don't see a seam anywhere.
Yeah.
He goes, that's how good he is. And then she goes, that was your grandson.
Oh, that's so
I'm
funny.
like, excuse me?
Wow.
I have never been so proud of anything in my life as on that moment when she said that was his work. So he's a natural, and we saw it on the first podcast.
Yeah, we did.
How good he was. Oh, is.
Yep, we did.
Can I expose you real quick? Both
Sure.
of you? When we did the first podcast, there was, I think, about 6 Zoom meetings throughout that week to check that I was doing it right. I'm glad I have their trust now, but man, we had to watch that podcast about 6 times over and listen to Lisa asking forward questions. I don't know if I could say that, but
And what was it? What is the saying that she goes? This is the diversity duel. Let's do this. How many times you heard?
man, I think I heard that like 12 times because she wanted me to keep going back and redoing it, and then I would have to do it in my spare time as well.
Well, we have been thrown under the bus by our producer,
Yes.
videographer, and editor. Thank you, Elijah.
Yeah, no problem. I think it's important that people know.
Yes, they do. This is not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. Now, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, right, and a young one, what has been some of the challenges that you have faced, and how have you overcome them?
Well, first off, let me start with I definitely receive a lot of scam mail.
Oh,
People telling me that I owe like $500 to get this bill signed or get these papers in because they're needed for my business. And I think I've received over 15 of those within the past couple months,
Wow.
right? And because they see my age, and they think, take advantage of it. They think that's what they think. They also see that they probably say that I'm a minority as well, honestly, so that's why they kind of approach me in that way. But to cover kind of how it's hard to be kind of young and the challenges of being young and starting a business, I guess, is definitely the trust that you have to build with the people, because they say that you're a young person. So you're either a really driven person or you're somebody that's not really taking this seriously and just trying to make a couple
is
bucks.
correct.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the biggest problem that I've faced so far. And luckily, the people that I've come across are very nice people. Obviously, you too, right? Always give me a chance to do it, and I'm able to show kind of how I work my magic, right? But outside of that, I haven't really had too many people approach me. I'm always the people, well, you guys, again, the people close to me. But outside of that, I'm always the one approaching them, and I'm lucky if I hear back from them. You know what I mean? Because of my age, definitely, I feel like that has to do with that.
So, some of the advice that we would give, that we do give to other people, and I'd love to talk to you about them. Things like SCORE. Maria, I know you're a
Certified counselor.
certified counselor for SCORE. Is that something that you've looked into? And
SCORE, no.
So thank you for asking. So SCORE is through the Small Business Association, right? And what they do is they establish classes and mentorship, and it's free for entrepreneurs of all ages. But I think it's a supportive mechanism, or I envision it as a supportive mechanism to some college courses, right? So thinking about putting your financials together, thinking about grant writing, thinking about leadership and organization, right? You haven't hired anybody yet, but
Yep.
at some point that will be your goal. So how do you know when do you pull the trigger to hire somebody? So SCORE, great organization, and as of this week, It's still existing, right? Because we know some hits are coming. I'm not going to jump into them, but hits are coming to the Small Business Association. Hopefully, SCORE will make its way through this. But that's one of the things I'd love to kind of recommend to you and to other entrepreneurs, right? To get engaged. Maria, from your experience, you're kind of a giver from SCORE. What are your recommendations around it?
I definitely recommend SCORE. This is a group of individuals that have run banks, all the way from banks to hospitals and anything in between. They retire, but they want to give back to the community. So our local chapter here in the South Coast is the SEMA chapter, which stands for Southeastern Massachusetts. And the people there, they are absolutely amazing. And if they assign you to somebody like me, but you in reality want to do marketing, I can always reach out to the group, and somebody from marketing will join me to help the small business. So it's a really, really good group. They also have E4All. That's another agency that helps small businesses. There's a vast number of them. It's just taking the time and finding them and finding whether or not this is the perfect fit for you.
As well as cohorts. And I want to, if you don't mind, I'd love to talk a little bit about cohorts, right? We know about this Marshfield Media because I was in the South Shore Bank Chamber and South Shore Chamber of Commerce have a group together. That's how I met Ivana here at Marshfield Media. We were in the similar cohort together. Northeastern University, I was in a cohort from them last year. You've been in a bunch of cohorts.
I have been.
But there's a lot of large organizations that offer supplier development programs to help young entrepreneurs, young small LLCs, in order to build up capability statements, thinking about your finances, thinking about grant writing, thinking about funding. I think my greatest advice is early on in your career after you establish a business is to get involved with some of these organizations and seek the guidance and counsel. One of the things that came to me last year through my association with Northeastern, I was offered some students from their law school, which was amazing, right? To have some ability to have conversations that aren't $500 an hour, right? And have these conversations around the legal documents used for my business, et cetera.
What trends do you see emerging in the market for the type of services you provide? Honestly,
I was talking about how people kind of stick to the normality of just capturing the events in a normal way, with just a regular lens. And honestly, what I am seeing is that people are kind of exploring outside of that, as much complaining as I did, People are definitely exploring outside of that. People are leaning more towards kind of the cinematic take on it that I'm doing. But not even just that. They're trying to get more creative with it. They're putting that personality into it. And that's definitely a big trend that is emerging because there's a lot of young people like me that are coming up in this type of fields. And even people that aren't, they... It's just a lot of inspiration that comes from online, a lot of social media inspiration that comes out of that. And it's great to see something like that because, like I was saying earlier, personality is the biggest thing that you can put into this type of field.
And we see that a lot with TikTok and Reels, right, and Vines. I don't know if Vines are still around, but I'm going to throw it out there.
Not around.
It
left
around.
In like 2015.
Okay. All right. It's all right, Elijah. Don't you worry about that. I'm going to keep us connected to 2015.
No worries.
But so those are still kind of the places where people of your generation, right? And not that I don't think TikTok is, I'm always shocked at the number of people that are on TikTok and the personality that they'll put out there. I'm surprised by us putting a podcast out and displaying our personalities. It's that same thing, right? Where we are becoming this world that just says, I'm connected to the words that I use, and it's important for me to have that voice and put them out there. But I love how you think about it through the catching the right lens, catching the right picture, catching the right scene, and having that be part of the story. Where do you get your inspiration? Do you follow particular people or organizations that bring you knowledge on how to do some of this stuff? And
Am I allowed to say specific people?
question.
No, it's a great question because I was going to cover something else as well.
Okay,
Am I allowed to cover specific people?
It's
No.
up to you.
please.
Well, I know you don't like. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh
So-
no, but these are people that you see on TikTok and all that. That's different.
Okay.
That's marketing.
I was gonna say I'll cover the question in a second, but firstly, there's definitely social media. Has its positives and negatives. Obviously, a big positive that I do see coming out of this though is that everything is so connected that we can all expand upon each other. So we'll see one shot, like one camera shot that has happened, and then we're like, wow, that looks beautiful. I can make that better. You know what I mean? Add my own touch to it. Get creative with it. And that's what really allows this kind of field to expand and evolve so rapidly, especially within somebody to learn so fast about it, because I kind of picked it up a little fast because I like to, well, this goes into your question. I definitely have a lot of people that I look up to in this type of field. Definitely a lot of people on YouTube within all the social media realms. If I had to name a specific person, I guess right now is there's somebody named Gox Art, and he creates the most creative, inspired videos I've ever seen. He has such creative angles, and when I'm working on, not only my business stuff, but my own personal projects. My personal projects are where I take a lot of inspiration from him. But outside of that, working on my personal projects like that helps me expand so much, on my ability to be able to kind of perceive a shot before it's happened. You know what I mean? So I can see how a shot's going to look from here. And that's great. Where was I going with that?
I don't know.
But
I like where you are.
yeah, thank you. But basically, the inspiration online really allows for the people to evolve past what they can normally see through a lens. It's like the shot looks great here, but I can make it look better over here, type of thing.
So one of the things that I picked this up the first time you and I met. When you talk like that, I have absolutely no idea what you mean, right? But I love that you do.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that way about a shot or
Yeah.
about a view or about it doesn't enter my brain. And my quick story of that is my family, we were in Italy, we were at the Amalfi Coast, and my daughter said, it looks like, when you walk out, it looks like a painting. And I don't think with that side of my brain. So I hear you. I don't get what you're saying. And that's why I love that you're doing this with us, because I think you think about it in a way that it would never dawn on me. I don't know that there are lights here. I don't care that there's too much purple, not enough purple, a little green. Doesn't make any sense.
That's why I'm here.
That's why you're here. Yeah. And I also want to say, don't underestimate your passion
Oh yeah, for sure.
for what you do. That is exactly why you're as good at this as you are.
Listen,
And
I'd rather say it the complicated way first. That way I'm legit. And then if you need it to be, kind of dumbed down, then I'll do that.
I feel like that's my influence on you. Give me a good 4-minute question, would you?
Man, I can't do that one. That one's a little out of my reach. I wanted to say though, for that Amalfi Coast thing you said,
Yeah.
there's everybody has their own perspective on it. Like within the camera field, everybody has their own perspective on the shot. But if we expand that backwards, everybody has their own take on what they see there. Like, what was that? Your daughter, you said?
Yep.
She sees the painting. I'll see like a great photo potential. You see a bunch of small businesses you can help. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a bunch of different stuff that different people can see, and we really need that for everything to keep moving, the gears to keep going.
That's great.
I love this. I remembered 6 years ago, it's spring and there are honeybees and bumblebees, flying around. And I'm looking up and I have this tree by my garage. And in the spring, it comes completely covered in pink, baby pink color flowers. And I'm hearing a buzzing and I see this bees going in and out, I ran and get my camera. It is one of the best shots ever because you see the bee going in and I'm taking it in slow motion. I fell in love with that picture. It's one of my favorite pictures that I have taken.
That's nice.
But, you know, I strictly just take pictures of nature, nothing else. Speaking of which, what sets your business apart from the competition? Your videography, photography business apart from the competition?
I think definitely the theme of this, right? The amount of personality you put into it. Also, you know, I work very closely with the client. You know, I want to make sure that their inputs, I'll provide mine, but theirs is always obviously going to come above mine. You know, so it's always normally during the editing process. That's when what they want really comes to fruition, right?
Yep.
I mean, while I'm filming, you know, whoever's there with me will kind of give me the advice. But for the person that really wants it to turn out how they want it to be, you know, like a big wedding day, you want that perfect, you know what I mean? So what kind of sets me apart from the rest, I wouldn't really use a whole film team, you know. I know some people say that the biggest thing is to have as many angles as you can get, you know. I don't personally agree with that. So the biggest thing that I differ from a lot of people is my beliefs, you know what I mean? Just kind of like a religion for cameras, I guess, you know. I have my complete own belief system when it comes to camera work, and I think that's what really helps me get the creative angles that I can get, because I kind of limit myself on what I have access to. That way I can make that shot that is going to make the final cut 10 times better than if I had all that stuff to rely on.
That's great. You mocked us earlier about what I heard was that we're a tough client.
Yes.
I heard that.
Yep, we are.
Well, I heard that we were right out of the gate. So, you know, one of the things I think you did remarkably well at was balancing what we didn't know with what you did know. Right? And
I agree.
You know, I think that played out in that first week in our 57 meetings
No,
that we had.
It's just
right?
filling in the gaps.
It was filling in the gaps.
Yeah,
right?
whatever you didn't know, I apply my knowledge to that.
I was going to say that,
Yeah.
that there were times that we were trying to tell you we will like this, but we didn't have the right wording because that's not our area of
Yeah,
expertise.
so we just-
And you immediately, I know what you're talking about. You want me to do this and this.
and
Yes, how you know that?
If I
So-
if I didn't know, we just try something until
we got there.
we really know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, it was remarkable though. I think that was, for me, that was really amazing how well you managed us. And I think that was exceptional on two counts, right?
Yeah.
One is definitely your age, right? When we talk about culture, we can't pretend that you're not, 40 years younger than us.
Right.
Right? And
Yeah.
the second one is you had two really strong women. One being your grandmother, who was trying to kind of boss you around. And I think you displayed an exceptional amount of patience, and you managed us. And you managed out of that situation, which I think was great.
At the end of the day, I'm producing it, but it's not my podcast, you know? So it's completely up to whatever the client wants, you know what I mean?
He has this way of calming me down when he doesn't get what I'm trying. He's so tall. So he would look down at me and he would put his right hand on my shoulder and he would look right into me. I got this, Mima. And completely, I'm like, okay, I don't have anything else to say to you. So when he says he got it, I know that he got it.
Only so much you can overthink, you know? You just got to kind of jump into it, I guess.
Challenge accepted, Elijah.
Come on, that's not a challenge. Please don't. Please don't. Can't do the 6 Zooms again.
I have another question for you. Now that you're sitting in the hot chair, right?
Yeah.
And you're running your business, and obviously we do talk a lot. He calls me and asks me for advice, and I'm always there for him.
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you give to young entrepreneurs that are in the same space as you are? What would be that advice that you would give anybody that has an idea to start a business, has a business, and they don't know which direction to run? And I'm sure the audience wants to hear from a Gen Zer what that sounds like.
Well, first off, let me say this. I'm still expanding as well, you know, kind of in the same boat that you all are in, or, you know, I'm kind of just past the step of thinking about the idea, you know, still kind of in the process of getting it up and running. But what I will say is, first off, prepare yourself for the mindset, right? Unapologetically be yourself when it comes to doing this kind of thing. You know, do not settle for anything that you are not proud of. You really need to put your whole worth into it. Give your all, you know. Don't lean back onto certain things because you're not sure how to do it, or because, you know, because of other reasons. Basically, just do not what's the word I'm looking for?
Settle?
No, because I already said settle.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. It's just always keep trying. Figure out a way to do it. You know, don't say no to a job just because you don't know how to do it. You will figure out how to do it, right? There's plenty of research online. Trust me. Listen, me and you, Gen Z. All right, YouTube, we got it. All right, just look it up there. It's there. But there's always a way to do something, right? For getting your business started, right? Again, like I said, in the same boat as you all, still getting it launched. But what I have personally done so far is just kind of make sure your social media accounts are there. You know, they're going to be people that are reaching out. Get your connections going. Luckily, I have a grandmother, and then that exposed me to Lisa, right? And then now, because of my Mima, she is able to get me. She's able to get me exposed to a bunch of different opportunities that I have not seen access to, especially because of the minority in me, right?
So you're a certified minority business?
Yes.
We're going through the process. He is up and running. He's listed with the Secretary of State.
Okay.
He has his business bank account, which is very important for any
whole
small
process,
business.
yeah.
He's going to be applying for his business credit card to establish that line of credit. And he has been such a good student, just taking everything I show him, and he's running with it. So that makes him somebody. I know that he's going to be successful because he's willing to listen and he's willing to adapt whatever advice I'm giving him.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking to go back to school eventually.
This year,
Because he knows that education is very important. This he can do on the side.
Yep.
I mean, most people that own a business, they have full-time jobs. I am lucky enough that I was retired from state work, and I was able to dedicate so much time to my business. Now he knows what it takes to run a business to a certain degree, and he can dedicate hours to go back to school. And we're so proud. The entire family is so proud of him. But we're working on his certification. He's going to get him certified in every place I can get him certified.
There we go.
He also has a couple of big projects coming up. He has a gala next week, and he's the videographer, and he has another gala in August. And again, these are people that they're in my circle. They heard about him. They saw the podcast, and they're like, we want him. So that has helped him to expose.
I feel like we want to drive that message, right?
Yes.
To other small business owners.
Yes.
So it is about certifying. It is about getting certified. That is not a ticket to success. What it is a means in which businesses are able to locate you, right? Because when we talk about supply chain, discovery is one of the first methods, right? How do people go about finding you? Social media, absolutely important, but also Secretary of State, certifying agencies. These are the way in which we locate from the supply perspective. I love that you're going to get him certified everywhere. I also love that you're going to go back to school. That's
for sure.
really exciting.
That's very important.
I will say, for my last piece of advice, be a sponge. Absorb everything. Absorb everything that you're told. You know, she was saying I was a good student, and she's a great teacher, obviously. But you can't act like the teacher when you're the student. You know, you gotta really just absorb everything that's coming your way. You know, you can question it along the way, but do not ever think that you are right, like above that person. You know, and if you do, sure, you know, do it in your own time though. Do it after the fact, especially when it comes to camera work. You're gonna get to the editing process. Do it your way if you want to, but always absorb the information that you were told from people that have made it bigger than you, I guess, right?
And I want to add to that I you said that I'm a great teacher, but you have taught us so much because I'm telling you, between you and Ivana from Marshfield Media, I have learned so much in these few weeks that we've been doing this, and I thank both of them. Eventually, and hopefully, Ivana will say yes to sit on the hot chair because what she has to offer, people out there has to know about how good she is.
Oh yeah, she'll be here.
We should mention that she's in the room, so she's
She
going
is
to have
in
a
the
hard
room.
time getting away from this.
I
know.
can't see. I'm hoping that she's smiling.
I know the light is kind of all the expression
know,
I see
Yes,
coming from her.
yes.
Is there anything that we haven't asked you that you want to talk about, or
No, basically just.
Actually, I have one more question.
I think
Okay.
that was it for me.
What do you see? Where do you see yourself 3 years from now? I'm not going to say 5 because that's the normal question. 3 years from
Yeah,
now,
I'm too young. I don't think that far ahead.
where
So 3
where do you see yourself 3 years from now?
3 years from now, man, hopefully successful with the business. You know, I'm gonna keep pushing over the next 3 years. Getting as much outreach.
you can't just say successful to us, right?
No.
We're key performance indicator
True,
people.
true. All right.
So what does success look
Look for
like
you,
for
yeah.
your particular business?
Yes,
Man,
for you.
having something to work on every day. I mean, I do currently right now, you know, but I want to have multiple jobs lined up throughout the months to come. I want to have my outreach strategies going a little better. You know, I just want more overall productivity going on within the business. You know, more than 10% right now. You know, you guys are like, I don't know, 120%. We'll say that. I'm at like 10%. I want at least like 30%, if that makes sense. Sorry, Gen Z
does. It-
language right here.
Yep, no, it absolutely makes sense. I think that's great. I think I do think it's important. You know, there's a saying, "What we measure grows." Right? If you don't measure what you want, you have no idea if you've made it there.
Yeah.
So, I look forward. I mean, I have the pleasure of getting to see you every 2 weeks, right? So,
Exactly.
you know, this is going to be our common language. Is we're going to talk about what's happening and what's the movement, because that's my favorite kind of talk.
Actually, thank you for that quote. I've never been exposed to that type of thing. What we measure grows.
What we measure grows.
Because I've never even thought about where I'd be 3 years from now. So
It's a great thing to write about.
that is a good thing to write about. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Have whatever they call it, a board, or I do keep track of everything, my ideas, my vision, how my future is going to look. I do have so many journals. I do write journals for my business. And if I look at my journal 2 years ago, I was in a different spot. And now I have so much growth and so many connections that 2 years ago, I would have never thought of it. So it's good to keep track of where you have been, where you are, and where you're going.
That's right. Yeah, and to be open to it, because I think, this podcast alone is something I did not have on my bingo card probably for my entire life. I never expected to do this. I don't even know which one of us first threw the... Was it me?
It was you.
Okay.
It was you. It was funny because you said, Maria, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. And I said, let's do it. And a week later, I'm in front of Ivana, who is again in the room, and we absolutely love her. She is a genius when it comes to these things. And she was talking to us. It sounded, a different language to me. My grandson was in the room. He kept on saying, I got this. I got this. I got this. So in within what? A month, we were up and
Within a
running.
month. Yeah.
But that's what happened when you have two very, passionate, direct, and driven women doing something that they believe in and they love.
Yeah, as soon as I say yes to something, I am all in. That's what makes this whole thing fun.
Same here.
And the idea that I can say that to you and you were like, yep, okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
One thing I do want to say is it's okay to doubt yourself. Do not diminish yourself, right?
Perfect.
Love that.
Always keep that in mind. You're going to have doubts about what you're producing within your field, but don't think that you are not producing quality. You're producing the quality. You've probably been looking at it too long. You know what I mean? So just
It's
that in
remarkable,
mind.
Elijah. That's a hell of a sentence. And I just think it's been amazing to me that you don't display imposter syndrome at all. It doesn't come close to you.
So can you explain that imposter syndrome?
It sure can, and I love that I have to. Imposter syndrome is, hey, Maria, do you want to do a podcast? Sure. oh my God, what am I doing? Why am I doing a podcast? I can't do a podcast. Nobody wants to hear my words. Maria, what are we doing? Like,
I heard all that, and I'm like, we got this. We're going to do
got
this.
this.
We got this.
that's imposter syndrome.
That is
It's thinking you're not good enough to do something. And I love that I'm going to figure this out. I might not know it today, but I'm going to know it tomorrow.
I'll be honest with myself. If I have no idea what I'm doing at all, but I know I'm going to figure out how to do it. That's the big
That's awesome.
thing.
I have one last question, and I know we are closing to our end time together here. And those times when you feel overwhelmed, and we all talk about having a place where mentally you can go and discharge. Running a business can be mentally challenging. How do you deal with those times where you become overwhelmed? Or, for a minute, you just want to walk away from it all, if that has happened to you?
Oh, trust me, it's happened, definitely. I run into a lot of situations where I don't think what I've produced is up to par with what I want. And then I'm thinking, maybe should I reshoot this, or should I just kind of go with it? I end up going with it, because the thing I kind of tell myself, because even before the burnout type of thing, I'll get on that. Even before that, you gotta produce what you produce, and then it's okay to look back on it, and be like, dang, like I really don't like this, but use it anyways. Use that anyways, because in the moment that was a good idea or whatever to you, and don't doubt yourself on that. You had a good idea there, so keep that final product. But when it comes to burnouts, and kind of being like, man, like, whew, it's been a long day, kind of shrug the shoulders, you gotta, I'd like to say that I get up and go do something else, and I do that like 90% of the time. Sometimes I'll just push through it, because sometimes I'm just really enjoying it that much. I know I'm having a burnout right then and there, but once I finally get that product I want, then I know I'll have I'll be jumping for joy, right? But as far as taking a step aside to go do something else, I'll make myself a meal. I'll go on a run or something. Just do anything else that kind of contributes to the overall goal that I'm having, without touching on that one little part that I got burnt out from.
Love that. That's great.
So, any last message you want to give to our audience? Any advice you want to give? Any parting words you want to give?
Just like they say for your business, how you get the first job and then it's only up from there. That pretty much covers your outreach, pretty much, quotation marks. Just like they say for that, make the first step to no matter what you're doing, even if it's not for business, just make that first step, and then you've kind of already exposed yourself to a world where stuff is either going to start pouring in, or you're going to have ideas or be in a mindset where you want to keep reaching out. So just make that first step.
That's great.
And with that, I want to thank Mr. Elijah Turbides, owner of ET Lensworks. It has been a pleasure having you here. It's been refreshing to hear your point of view from the perspective of a young entrepreneur. And I want to leave you guys with my favorite quote, if I can find it here.
Let me just say, trust me, the pleasure's all mine. Being on the side of the camera, it feels a little good. It's a little dark back there.
Well, thank you. And with that, let's continue to amplify diverse voices and foster meaningful dialogues. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. And until then, this is Maria.
And this is Lisa. We're the diversity duo where culture meets commerce. Thank you, Elijah. Thank you for being our guest today. Get back behind the camera. We appreciate it, and we'll see you again.
I'll see you in 7 Zoom meetings.